Hi, I'm Robert Shelby, Chief of Police for Shelby Township, and welcome to Straight Talk. With us today is Deputy Chief Mark Coyle, and we're here to talk about a few different issues going on in the police department. The first of all is, Mark, we had our open house back last month, and we didn't have an open house the year before. And why don't you tell our residents how important our open house is to us and why we do it?
So COVID gave us some challenges. We had just kind of built this thing, and I have to really give a lot of credit to Officer Leslie Heisler, who established this when you first got here. Said, hey, I want to have an open house. I want our community to see all the things that we are doing to keep them safe. The men and women that go out every day and enforce the law, to interact with them and have the human side to the badge, see us as people. And Officer Heisler did that. COVID came, we had to shut it down. We did not have one last year. On a rainy day this year, we still had an excellent turnout. We had a lot of people that showed up, got to see all of our police vehicles, our canine demonstration, our drone demonstration, where we are going as an agency and what we are putting in place to, like I said, keep people safe.
Well, I know 2 years ago, I think we ran open house 3 or 4 years in a row before we got stalled with the COVID last year. But I think 2 years ago, our last open house, we had about 800 people come through the day. It was packed through the entire day. We had a tremendous turnout. And one of the things you've always said, that we've always discussed, if you build it, they will come.
Sure.
And I was really frustrated that we couldn't have the event last year. And we had it this year. We had some scheduling challenges also, as you know.
Yeah.
And the residents came out, and I think we bought like 200 or 300 hot dogs. And
where Officer Heisler had started, Leslie started, Sergeant Benedettini had taken the baton and ran with it. He was given a little bit of a daunting task. Weather was a problem. Kind of reinventing the event because we had the year off. But Deputy Chief Schmittler and myself, whether it was making popcorn or making hot dogs, they ate us out of house and home, which is a good sign.
Yes.
Coming from an ethnic family, my mother would be very happy. The Italian side in her would be super happy that we fed everybody. They had a great time. The kids loved it.
I do want to compliment Sergeant Benedettini also. Like you said, he took the baton from Leslie. He did a tremendous job. But there was a strike against him and your team. I got several complaints the following morning.
Yeah, we did.
There was no coffee. What were you guys thinking?
So we sat down and we had an after-action meeting, and the biggest resounding thing was, thank you for the cider and donuts, thank you for the hot dogs, thank you for the popcorn, but can we get some coffee next year? And so I can say that, yes, as everything starts, we will get it bigger and better, and next year, those of you who requested coffee will have it for you.
We have a strategic partnership with our towing provider, Rocco and Dino Yuncevic. You want to tell a little bit about what they mean to our department and community and their investment and love of our community and what they did for our open house?
Well, it's twofold. Number one, they're what we pay them to do. What the responsibility to our agency and our community is to provide us with the highest quality of towing service, and they do that. That's number one, and that's paramount. They're exceptional at what they do. They are a vendor that we welcome, and we're happy to work with. That being said, their family is probably one of the kindest, generous families that we have the opportunity, and in our case, luxury to have in our back pocket. They're always willing to help anyone in need, help the community, help our agency. And as I said, that partnership parlayed into some kids getting some bicycles and homeowners being safe because they did provide a Ring doorbell camera for one lucky person there as well. So it's that partnership. We here on the national...
And an Xbox too, right?
And an Xbox, sure, yeah, a video game platform, sure. That was great, but you hear this on a national level all the time about, where we are in community relations, and here we've had that. I've been here 31 years, and whether it be Dino and Rocco or a litany of other businessmen and women throughout our community that have always supported us and in our endeavor to keep people safe and work collaboratively to make this a better place.
Yeah, and I agree totally. A quick anecdote I want to mention about Rocco and Dino. A few years ago, our library director was telling us about an employee of hers that through very unfortunate circumstances had become homeless. And at one point he was living out of his car, and then he lost his car somehow, and he's like totally homeless. And I being a police officer in me, for a long time, I suspected the guy had some kind of substance abuse problem, and it turned out he did not. I dug in this a little bit, and he was truly just a victim of some very unfortunate circumstances.
Hard times.
Yes, and I mentioned it to Dino and Rocco, and next thing you know, they bought him a vehicle. They bought him a vehicle to get him around, and
and I not to interrupt, Chief, but that's what makes, we talk with the township board, the supervisor, and all of them. That's what makes this place special. It's not, we have a great park system. We have a great police and fire, and we provide security. We have a school system. But realistically, what makes Shelby Township special are the people that live here, work here, and recreate here. The people that are entrenched in our community make us who we are and what we are. And Dino and Rocco are that. They're the consummate individuals that in a time of need, they will always rise to the occasion. They will always do. And again, we have countless amounts of people that support us, whether it be with our awards ceremony and banquets, whether it's the amount of food or families that donate food to our agency, whether it's the giving tree as we go into the holiday season. We have individuals that help us with our seniors and make sure that everything that we do is really based in community outreach.
I couldn't agree more. Let's transition over to our cadet program. We put the cadet program in around 3 years ago. We're now starting to see fruit of that program, not with just, I don't mean because we have officers on the road. We've had officers on the road immediately right after the program started.
Sure.
But I'm talking about where the officers are kind of growing up and becoming big boys and girls on their own and going out and adding value to the department. Are you satisfied and happy with our program?
Absolutely. It was a labor of love. If you remember, you and I sat down and we tried initially to get it started off the ground, and it took some work. It took some effort because it was new. It's a completely new program. We really didn't have that many agencies in Macomb County that were doing it. It's far more prevalent in other counties. It was a vision of yours and said, how do we make this? How do we make this happen here? We sat down, and within the first 2 or 3 rotations of young men and women that came through the door, I believe you and I sat together and said, this will be the greatest thing. Our legacy after you and I are long gone will be the cadet program, because the most important thing that we do is our people, and it is the pipeline to young, talented men and women that want to go into the profession. We've had probably 4 graduating classes now? 4 graduating classes of cadets that are now police officers.
Yeah, it's around, I think we have around between 12, 15 people that have went through the program.
Yeah, I think you're correct.
That are on the road. Like I said, it's bearing fruit now on a daily basis, reading our shift log every 12 hours, seeing what the young officers are doing, and I couldn't be more proud of them. And I know you're in charge of the program. This is your baby, so.
Oh, it just happens to be my responsibility. The people that are really the backbone of it are obviously, Ron Mix, who is the cadet supervisor. You have Lieutenant Pat Barnard, who is evaluating these people and going through the interviews. What it really is much, I would have loved to have this opportunity as a young person to be able to come in and see what law enforcement was all about, establish myself in, and have somebody give me a pathway to my career. And that's what we're doing. It's really, we're taking young people that have an interest in this profession and saying, hey, this is a way for you to see if this business is really for you, because it's not for everyone.
Agreed.
And we make no promises to anybody. If you're not working out, it's not any shame. It just isn't for you. This profession is not for everyone.
Correct.
We have had to say goodbye to really good people, really good young kids, but they knew in their hearts, and we knew in our hearts, that this probably wasn't the fit for them.
Right.
The opposite of that is, we have just had kids that have come through, they've flourished, they've blossomed, and I could go through a litany. I could go through 12, 15 young men and women that are now the backbone, providing security and safety for our community.
Yeah, I agree. One of those young men DC Coyle is referring to is named Tommy Verdura. Tommy came in through the program, did an excellent job as a cadet. Now he's out on the road on his own. Let's take a look at some footage we have of Tommy.
I I obtained my business degree after college. I went to work for my dad and my uncle for a few years. And then one of my best friends, Officer Herman, was a cadet at the time, and he said they were looking to hire more cadets. So, you know, work was kind of slow, so I put in a job application in Shelby for a cadet position, and the rest is history. You know, about a year and a half later, now I'm on the road by myself. See ya. Yeah. Get your FaceTime.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a people person, and I like seeing the good in people. But in this profession, sometimes people don't look at us the same way. They think we're automatically bad just because we have a badge. You know, there's a lot of people in this profession that do it for the right reasons. And me personally, I want to serve my community, make it a better place to live, and, you know, hopefully build the relationship between community and police. So it is a shots heard call. Someone claims they heard one gunshot. Only one caller is reporting it. We're headed to Woodmire. Anything with implied shots is definitely going to be officer safety. This one more so because we're not really positive if it's gunfire. I mean, it could be a firework. It could be a multitude of things. It could be a backfiring lawnmower, which we've had before. So like I said, we're going to head there, see if we hear anything ourselves, speak to the caller, and see where she heard it, and see if we can, you know, maybe hear another gunshot and determine where it's coming from. So like I said, it could be possibly a lawnmower backfiring, so I'm gonna circle back and speak with this gentleman and see if maybe it was his lawnmower, or see if maybe he heard anything. Hi sir, how you doing? Good. Hey, just by chance, did your lawnmower backfire maybe when you were starting it?
No.
Okay.
This time it didn't, but sometimes it does.
Okay, did you maybe hear any gunshots or anything? No? No loud bangs or anything?
Well, he just cut his grass. It might have been him over there, Ken.
Okay.
But I didn't hear it.
Okay. All right, no problem. Thank you, sir.
How's it going, guys?
Good, not too bad. Yeah, we just got a shots heard complaint in the area, so we're just investigating. Yeah, just one shot. So I was thinking maybe it's a lawnmower, which happens occasionally.
I've been out for 15 minutes. I didn't hear it.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir.
Hey, thanks for you guys.
Yep, of course, sir. Thank you. He said this guy was just out cutting his grass, so it could have been him. I don't.
Lawnmower, shotgun.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, just one shot. So. What's that?
Go talk to him, or just I'll keep driving north.
Yeah, I think we just keep driving around and see if we hear anything else. Okay. Yeah, so the caller lives a street over, and she's claiming that it was heard behind her house, so it would be in this direction somewhere. So if we see anybody else outside, we'll just stop and talk to them and see if anybody else heard anything. So there's a guy outside right here. We'll stop and ask him. Hi, sir. How you doing? Good. How long have you been outside?
Oh, maybe 20 minutes or so?
Okay, just by chance, have you heard any gunshots or any loud noises or anything?
Nothing that got my attention.
Nothing? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably would have been in the last 10 or 15 minutes, so.
I can't say anything that got my attention.
Okay.
I know sometimes you hear firecrackers, or people will use things to scare away the geese.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I was thinking it could have been a lawnmower that just backfired or something. Okay. Like I said, it was only one shot and only one caller, so.
Gotcha.
Just trying to get to the bottom of it.
Understood.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We talked to multiple people. I talked to this guy. He said nothing. I said, was it your lawnmower maybe? He said no, so. I don't know. All right, so now, we're good to clear. So I'll just kind of update the notes. And then we have our activity log to update. So anytime we go on a call or do something, it's all tracked on our activity log, which will keep track of the time.
DC Coyle, back a few years ago, we put in dynamic simulation training into our police department. Reading with the scholars around the country, the law enforcement scholars, the ones we respect, we're saying that the officers need to shoot less paper targets and do more real-life scenario training because some of the major incidents around the country. And I couldn't agree more with that. So we brought in a training, and I don't want to say it's a common training because most departments don't do it, but I believe the better departments do. And you had experience with it, and we put you in charge of it. And how many years in a row we've ran it now? I think 4.
Correct.
And we just ran it back a few months ago. Why don't you tell our audience about the training and what it involves?
Well, first off, I just happen to be the person, again, that's responsible for it. The training cadre is really the people that make this happen, and that's under the leadership of Sergeant McLean.
First floor, 12 side.
That's a room, that's where you ran.
Okay.
Sergeant Matt McLean is a consummate trainer. He is the assistant team commander of the tactical team. And with his cadre of people, they design and develop real-world training. As you said, we had talked about this several years ago about getting away from that static, just stand there, shoot paper, or just stand in a gymnasium and learn a tactic. We take all of those skill sets, and you know that I talk about tool sets and skill sets, and we force you to put them in a real-world exercise. So that means we put you in a simulation training where we shoot, for a lack of better terms, a paintball-style gun with protective equipment. We play role players out there, and throughout the 2-day course, these individuals are forced to use all of those tool sets, skill sets to accomplish the goal. And that goal could be as simply as helping with a lost individual, a mentally challenged individual, all the way up to barricaded people, armed individuals. We have started that from traffic stops all the way through. We're watching interaction because we do have a young force and we want to put those people in a stress-induced situation to see how they perform. Much the same as in any sporting event, you practice, you're going to play how you practice, so we practice real-world exercises.
I love your commentary on that, but one of the things that we insist on, I want to see, I hate to say this, but the officers failing. Because if they're not failing, I think the training is not suffice. I don't mean everyone, but there should be a certain number of people that are failing, and we do immediate corrective retraining, training right there on the spot. And I know that you and your team design those scenarios. So,
sure, yeah. So what we want them to do is to be exposed to something that they may have never seen or been involved in again, and that may push them into an uncomfortable situation. We immediately respond with that tool set, skill set to achieve and accomplish the goal that we are looking for. We want every one of our officers to leave training with a positive training experience, because that positive training experience is going to lead to a positive real-world experience. We'd much rather you get it wrong in training than you get it wrong on the street. And you and I have talked about training for a long period of time. I mean, all the 7 years, going on 7 years that we've been together. We can pay now. You can pay your tax dollars now to have the finest trained people, or you cannot train your people and you're going to pay it later because of mistakes.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to mitigate those mistakes. We're going to try to expose our individuals to things that they haven't seen before, and then give them the tools and skills to succeed.
one of the things I'd like to point out to our audience, since Deputy Chief Coyle and myself took over the police department back in January of 2015, our department has paid out $0 in litigation. That's something we're very proud of. And our model for that, and the reason we are successful, is because immediately we revamped our training program. And we start sending people to training and picking out people that you need to go here. And then we also had our regular shift training we do. But I think it was, 2 months after I was here, we blew the training budget for the year. And the girls were concerned. They thought I was going to get in trouble. You remember they approached me?
Yeah, one of the things that is really, like I said, for a lack of better terms, I'm just the elder statesman, been around a long time, been in the training cadre myself as a younger officer, as a sergeant. It is the backing of the community, and that's the township board that you have this relationship with, that you go and articulate what we need, why we need it, and they provide it for us. That relationship is that is the linchpin to our success. As you said, we spent money that needed to be spent. We spent resources that now provides we're at 75 officers the skill sets to be successful on the road, to do the things so that we are not finding ourselves being litigated against.
We have some footage from our dynamic simulations training we'd like to show you now.
Professionalism, teamwork, pride, preparedness.
Start scenario! Oh my God, my daughter's
What's going on?
choking.
The
My daughter's
daughter's choking.
choking.
Okay, can I see the baby?
Choking
Can I see the
on.
baby? You don't know on what?
I don't know. She's choking.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So the officers, we challenge them, we try to stress them, we put them in situations where they have to make decisions. From those decisions, they get feedback, and then they can look at their responses and learn from their responses to make things better the next time.
My dad has a heart condition. He's down in the bedroom. He's got a heart condition.
Okay, is he breathing right now? Where's he at? Which bedroom?
He's in the bedroom straight
All right,
ahead.
can you go show me which bedroom?
I don't know if he's breathing. He's got a heart condition.
Many of these scenarios, the officers are walking in blind. They don't know what to expect.
Dispatch copy.
Sir, can you hear me?
We'll start EMS.
We have some police trainers that are out here helping us today from the area. We also have officers from other departments that are assisting us. We're challenging the officers. We're trying to stress them. We're giving them situations of traffic stops, building entries. We're throwing a lot at them today because we're trying to make it real. You can come out here and you can fail, but still learn from the experience.
So is that a justified shooting?
Yeah. Doesn't take long to point a rifle.
Exactly.
That's
so
right.
You've got your intent. He's already proven his lethal intent because he shot somebody, and he's got hostages inside. What do you think would have happened if you didn't shoot?
Could have gone back inside.
You would have gone back inside, and then we would have had a massacre.
Chief Shalide implemented this training when he got here. We've been doing it for the last 5-6 years. It gets better every year, and we try to make it as real as possible.
Start scenario!
You messing with my girl, man? Hey, my girl, I'm messing with you.
Holster up, end exercise. Fantastic! There was no stopping you. There was no, like, I got him and we're going. Ideally, that's what's gonna happen, right? If your buddy's shot and I have unknowns, I'm gonna grab, so what do we have on all the back of our gear? We got a hook, right? I'm gonna grab this and I'm gonna take you.
Our entire department is attending this training. We have cadets that are assisting us today, but every officer goes through this training, including the chief.
Start scenario! Holster. Start scenario! Holster up. Oh, yeah. Oh, pop your helmet, man. Great work. Every
year we look forward to this training. This training makes it real for us. This training lets us use our skills and become better officers on the street.
Transitioning our dynamic simulations training, you also have the tactical response unit under your belt also, correct?
Sure.
How why don't you tell our residents and business owners how our tactical response team is doing and how often they train?
So the tactical response unit was a vision of yours and mine 6 years ago. We understood, you and I, and we've spoke about this, I think, in a previous episode. We had talked about going to a seminar and listening to somebody saying, hey, you can't just go do search warrants willy-nilly anymore. You're going to get your people hurt or you're going to get your agency sued. There is now protocol and procedures. 30 years ago when you and I were starting, you just kind of went through the door and you did whatever and you ran around like a...
We went through the door
on
our own. As road officers, right?
Yeah, you just kind of did your own thing. That's evolved, and like anything that is a profession, there's standards and there's rules that you follow. Well, this tactical unit, again, under the leadership of, at the time, Lieutenant Bill Wiley and now Sergeant Matt McLean and all those involved, we do threat assessments. We have raid plans. We have statistical plannings. We work with our partners. We belong to a consortium. It's called the Metro Macomb Swat Consortium. That's made up of Sterling Heights Police Department, Warren Police Department, Clinton Township Police Department, obviously ourselves, Roseville, and St. Clair Shores. And it is this cooperative effort that affords us the opportunity to meet the needs throughout the county. We work with our partners. As you know, we have an individual who is in the DEA task force. We just recently assisted the Drug Enforcement Agency with removing of narcotics from the community. Those are things that this unit is highly trained. They train every month, and they go away for a week-long training throughout the year. Again, failure to train is like, you're going to fail. Poor practice leads to poor performance. So we invest a lot of time and energy into them, and it's paid dividends.
I know that two of the units that our residents love are our K-9 unit and our Tactical Response Unit. We've already done a show on our K-9 unit. I think we've done multiple. I'm hoping in the future Stacy will let us do an entire program on our Tactical unit. We'll let her, give her access to go on a raid, along on a real raid with them and everything, and hopefully you'll approve that since you're in charge of the team.
We'll definitely look at our options and figure out what would be best for us.
Well, thank you for coming on.
You're welcome.
You've been watching Straight Talk. We'll see you next month.